Hi everyone, Coach John here. For this video, I'm going to do a comparison between the main cameras of the Sony Xperia Pro-I and the Samsung Note 20 Ultra. Both Samsung and Sony has marketed both of these devices as pro level, especially when it comes to their photo and video capability. Let's see if both of these phones are really pro level or are they just hype.
For the vlogs in my room, the light sources are just an overhead light and sunlight coming straight from my window.
Now, why did I choose these two phones as a comparison? Well, for the Samsung Note 20 Ultra, this was the first phone that I used to start my YouTube channel. For the Sony Xperia Pro-I, this is the camera that I chose to switch to after the Note 20 Ultra. Did I make the right decision giving up the Samsung Note 20 Ultra with its excellent productivity capabilities and large display for the camera-centric but overheating prone Sony Xperia Pro-I? The other thing is the sensor size for both of these cameras is similar.
I want to see if there are any significant differences in how each camera processes video in a variety of lighting settings. Samsung tends to use more AI than Sony to process photos and videos, so let's see if that has an advantage throughout this comparison.
They both output 12 megapixel video and the focal length is a bit similar. It's 24mm on the Xperia Pro-I and 26mm on the Note 20 Ultra. Both cameras will be using the microphones on board, so you can hear how the audio sounds from each one.
For the vlogs in my room, it appears the Sony Xperia Pro-I may have an advantage over the Samsung Note 20 Ultra when it comes to video performance. However, I want you to take a look at this comparison and see if you can guess which number belongs to which device.
So are you ready to see which camera belonged to which? Number one was the Sony Xperia Pro-I and number two was the Samsung Note 20 Ultra. Here is the Sony Xperia Pro-I front-facing camera. I will also show the one for the Note 20 Ultra later in this video. From this point onward, all the video footage from the Note 20 Ultra and the Xperia Pro-I will be in SDR or standard definition range.
This is an issue that I sometimes see with the Sony Xperia Pro-I. Whether I film in landscape or portrait mode, when I go to edit the footage, it would actually be opposite of what was recorded. You're gonna see this again later on in the video, that this is not just a single event. I never had this issue while filming with the Samsung Note 20 Ultra.
Here is the Sony Xperia Pro-I in auto mode, handheld, and in a strong backlit setting. I'm also using a lapel microphone to record the audio. For this next portion of the video, I'm going to show the video performance for the Note 20 Ultra and Xperia Pro-I in auto mode in various bright and low light settings. Now I'm in an environment where it's not as bright and sunny as that last clip. For the Sony Xperia Pro-I, the ISO is at 250. The shutter speed is at 250, but for the Note 20 Ultra, it doesn't let me know what the settings are in auto mode. Now the Xperia Pro-I has another aperture of f4.0, which I can turn on in order to compensate for this bright light. But remember, this is a test between the main cameras of both of these phones, and I want to keep the one on the Xperia Pro-I similar to the one on the Note 20 Ultra. I found an area where the light is a little bit darker so you can see the low light performance for both of these cameras. Now for the Xperia Pro-I, the shutter speed is at 1/58 and the ISO is at 125. So maybe not as dark as what I encountered inside my room. Unfortunately for the Note 20 Ultra on auto mode, I can't tell what the shutter speed or ISO is at. Maybe later on I can check on my computer at its data and hopefully it will tell me what it's recording at.
This is how the scene really looked when I was filming it. And I did say that I was shooting both of these comparisons in low light, and that's exactly what it was. However, it seems like that both of these devices are brightening up dark areas, and it's apparent that the Note 20 Ultra does it a lot more than the Xperia Pro-I. You will see this again in another low light video comparison later on.
Alright, so let's see if the autofocusing performance for both these cameras can still track me in this type of lighting environment. Here's another test of myself coming from a dark area into a brighter area. Try to see if these cameras are able to keep focus on me, did the white balance change, or anything else.
For this scene, the area that I was coming out of was actually really dark, darker than what is being shown here. So this is another example of both devices brightening up dark areas a lot more than what you really see. For the zoom comparison, all I did was set the volume button for each device to zoom, and I just zoomed in and out using the volume buttons. When zooming out with the Note 20 Ultra, it will go all the way out to the ultra-wide camera, unlike the Xperia Pro-I, which stops at the wide-angle camera.
Okay, this is 25 feet. Hopefully you can still hear me. I hear some echo on the wall here, which might amplify the noise. Here is a Samsung Note 20 Ultra in auto mode, handheld in a strong backlit environment. For this next portion of this video, I'm going to be doing an audio performance test for both of these phones. The onboard microphones in stereo mode for both of these cameras will be used from a distance of 5 to 20 feet from each phone. The mono microphone for the Sony Xperia Pro-I will not be demonstrated. Here is an audio test using the microphones from each phone or camera for the Sony Xperia Pro-I, and there is no wind reduction turned on for any of them. I am now at 5 feet and I'm going to go ahead and back up to 10 feet. Alright, here is an audio test using the microphones from each phone or camera for the Sony Xperia Pro-I, and there is no wind reduction turned on for any of them. I am now at 5 feet and I'm going to go ahead and back up to 10 feet. Alright, here I am at 10 feet. Hopefully you can still hear me. Also, this gives you an idea on how both cameras perform in auto mode in a environment where it's overcast right now. The sun is actually directly over me. Now I'm going to go ahead and back up to 15 feet. Alright, here I am at 10 feet. Hopefully you can still hear me. Also, this gives you an idea on how both cameras perform in auto mode in a
environment where it's overcast right now, the sun is actually directly over me. Now I'm going to go ahead and back up to 15 feet. This is 15 feet. Hopefully you can still hear me. It's not too loud right now. There is some background noise going on. Maybe you might be able to hear it in the video, but I hope you can still hear me clearly from this distance. I'm going to go ahead and back up to 20 feet. This is 15 feet. Hopefully you can still hear me. It's not too loud right now. There is some background noise going on. Maybe you might be able to hear it in the video, but I hope you can still hear me clearly from this distance. I'm going to go ahead and back up to 20 feet. Okay, this is 20 feet away. I know it's a bit extreme when vlogging, but you never know when you might have to record something from this far away or record yourself from this distance. This is 20 feet away. I know it's a bit extreme when vlogging, but you never know when you might have to record something from this far away or record yourself from this distance. Now, I don't know if you can see right now, but it's starting to rain. And the weather's been like this all day. It's actually been raining heavier than this. I prefer using a digital camera, the Sony ZV-E10, for a lot of my video work. However, I can't bring it out in weather like this. But the good thing about these two phones is you can bring them out in rainy weather and still keep filming. So if you're a content creator where you think you're going to be outdoors and in environments like this, it might be more cost effective to pick up one of these phones, or if you're lucky enough to find a used digital camera that is water resistant or weatherproof. This is the Sony Xperia Pro-I being handheld with the image stabilization system turned on. I'm just at a casual pace right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start jogging so you can see if this video stays stable during that movement. All right, light pace. I don't know if I want to run full speed with this because I'm not using my strap, but I am picking up the speed. You can hear the wind. It's raining. This is one of the great things about using this phone. You can film in this kind of environment. And let me hold it like this. I will sprint. All right. Let me switch over to the Note 20 Ultra. Here's another example of the Sony Xperia Pro-I not showing the correct orientation when I'm editing these videos. You can see that this scene was filmed in landscape mode, but when I went to go edit it, it's in portrait mode. All right, this is the Samsung Note 20 Ultra with its stabilization system turned on. Samsung calls it super steady shot. Still raining, and I'm gonna start picking up the pace. I'm gonna go into a light jog and then into a sprint. All right, so here it is, light jog. I can't tell if how stable the video is, and I'm gonna go ahead and sprint. All right, I have to review this footage later and compare the two to see which one was more stable during those types of movements.
They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go poof. Yellow polka dot bikini with the sea breeze. 100 proof. First they meet me, then they treat me, then they leave me. I'm like, oops. I'm too sneaky, I'm too cheeky, I'm too freaky. They like, oof. If you feel me, I'm a sweetie, don't believe me. It's the truth. They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. It go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go poof. Limo so they don't see me. Dudes be creepy, they on goose. I got Mimi, I got Kiki, I got Phoebe. Don't need you. When they need me, I'm the easy fly like E.T. I'm coming through in No freebie, shout out CC out in 3 weeks. They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. I go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. That's it. Go poof. They can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go poof. I go poof. Like Houdini, I go poof.
The one thing that I really miss about the Note 20 Ultra is how it feels in the hand compared to Sony Xperia Pro-I. I have big hands, so holding something as slim as the Xperia Pro-I in my hands is a bit tricky. I've dropped it a lot of times, but the wideness of the Samsung Note 20 Ultra just fits perfectly in my hand. And this is an excellent device for those who have large hands like myself. However, when it comes to doing photos and videos, I prefer the slimness of the Sony Xperia Pro-I for taking photos and videos. So, do these phones deserve the Pro badge, or do you think they're just hype? Do you feel that one performs better than the other when it comes to video? If so, please leave it in the comments and we can start a discussion about it. I think the next one for both of these cameras is going to be the low light comparison that I did for the Xperia Pro-I and the ZV-E10. I'll do something similar so you can see how the Note 20 Ultra compares to the Xperia Pro-I in low light environments. Please hit that like button, and if you want, subscribe. Until next time, stay safe, keep learning,